Laure Cometti is a political journalist based in France. Welcome to the programme. What do you think have been the defining issues of this election?
Hi, thank you for the invitation. Well, polls show that the main preoccupations of French voters are, in order, the purchasing power in the context of increasing fuel prices, health, of course, because of the pandemic, security and pensions, and a little bit lower environment, immigration and employment. So these are the main topics voters have in mind for this Sunday election.
If we had sat down a month ago, we'd be having a very different conversation. I mean, Macron seemed almost invincible, didn't he? I mean, it's now looking like a pretty close result, if the polls are to be believed, and that's a big caveat, obviously. Le Pen is closing in. What's happened?
Well, it's true that there was a shift in the past weeks. Well, I think there may be many factors. First, the campaign has been a little bit disturbed by the war in Ukraine, but also before that, the pandemics, and French voters haven't been really very enthusiastic about the debate and the vote, the coming vote. And Marine Le Pen has campaigned a lot about freezing fuel prices and lowering taxes. Promises that in the economic context have seemed to be successful among voters. And Emmanuel Macron has been very busy with the diplomacy, as your correspondent said, and he hasn't been campaigning maybe hard enough, or, well, the focus in the media and among French voters has not really been on the campaign. So what we have seen is that Marine Le Pen is increasing in the polls, and she is completely regaining almost the same level of voting intentions as 5 years ago.
Supporters of democracy will be very alarmed to learn that there's a predicted record 31% of eligible voters who simply won't bother, who are not engaged. And that's troubling for France and countries far beyond, isn't it?
Yes, of course. If there is an abstention rate of 31% this Sunday, that would be 10 points higher than 5 years ago. So that would be a historical record. As I said, I think the coronavirus and the war in Ukraine somewhat eclipsed the election in the media. And more generally, in France, there is this tendency, and in other countries as well, in other democracies, for many years, there is a crisis of confidence and trust in politicians. The record for the first round of a presidential election in France is 28% of abstention. It was in 2002 when Marine Le Pen's father was qualified for the second round. And since then, many French voters and many French people, actually, since they are not voters anymore, they started doubting that politics can really improve their life and that voting has an impact.